New. America is a rich country. Britain is a poor country with one wealthy region. People love to compare the UK to Mississippi, but it's far more informative to look at UK subnationally, too. London ranks fairly well, the rest of the country does not. Holy shit! That is bad! So what this is saying is that in terms of GDP per capita, if you got rid of London, which is like the financial capital of the world, basically, then the average GDP per capita in the UK, all of the UK, would be about comparable to the state of Mississippi. Huh, interesting. According to this chart, Seattle has the second highest subnational GDP per capita, with San Francisco being on top, which doesn't surprise me. Yeah, London relies heavily on international finance, but I really don't think people understand how much I'm not exaggerating when I say that the UK is a dead country. I genuinely mean that. Like, yeah, no, austerity, it's like, it's over. Like, it's over and it's not coming back. This is the reason why the UK has pivoted so hard into the trans hate stuff as like a political focus, because it's a way of distracting people from the political reality that they're f***ed and it's over. You know? God damn. In comparison, Germany is pretty equal here. Look, I mean, even America, we talk about America having severe income inequality, but it's, you know, I like regionally at least, not really. I mean, not compared to the UK at least. American culture war is being imported here. Okay, to be fair, the trans shit from the UK is not like America imported. You guys did a lot of that yourselves. And by you guys, I mean J.K. Rowling, like single-handedly. It's honestly less about the trans shit as it is about immigration. It's so fucking funny how petrified, like, the UK is of immigration when, one, you get less of it than any other European country because you are literally across the channel. And two, it's to your benefit. You desperately need workers. It's so bad. What is the age? Well, hold on. Age brackets UK. Like this, like the thing for China? Okay, not bracket. What would be like age distribution? Here we go. United Kingdom age structure. Yeah, guys. This is a problem. Okay. Notice how the the mode in terms of age is people in their 50s. Isn't that what most countries look like? Well, this is the problem with the UK is that they're not bolstering it with immigration. That's what like America does. It could be so much worse. It could be, but like why would you not want immigration? The average the immigrants are young on average. This is literally the average industrialized country. Look, I am making a point that no, this is not worse than Japan. Stop! Shut up! Immigration fixes this. That's the point. Why is this bad? Because this huge lump of people right here in their 50s are going to retire in a decade or two. And when they do, they're going to be a massive burden to the economy and there won't be enough young people to support them. Immigrants help with this because they're young. On average, immigrants tend to be young. The US by comparison? The US is a bit better. For us, the mode age range is right where I am, like late 20s, early 30s, which is about the peak like working point. We do have a bump over here with the boomer generation. The difference being that over here in the United States, we're not that psychotic about immigration. We take in like 1 million immigrants a year, which is good. So you can see, like comparing right next to them, that it is tightening down at the bottom for the UK and widening at the top. I know that doesn't seem like a significant difference, but we're talking about a difference of like millions of working people, like proportional to the population of the country. It's significant, you know. Also, Americans die earlier, which helps. Yes, we are executed by our government when we're 65. That is true. Won't the free market account for that? Yes, it will. Let's take a look at how the free market accounted for Japan. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. Oh, my goodness. Oh, good lord. The two largest bumps in population in Japan are in people in their late 40s and people in their early 70s. What about China? China's pretty bad, too. Plus, they have a huge gender gap. Oh, dear. The consequences of the one-child policy. This bump of people in their 50s who will be retiring soon, these are the people who were born right after the Great Chinese Famine. And then this bump of people right here in their early 30s are right when there was a relaxation of their, I think at the time it was two-child policy. There was a period of relaxation that led to a boom. Anyway, of all these countries, the United States has literally the healthiest age chart. Look at that. How did China enforce their one-child policy? Unequally. Do India, then Brazil? Okay, we're just going over links at the beginning. Hold on here. We'll look at India, because if you want to see a country that's on the rise, not to say they won't have problems to deal with later, but you can see pretty clearly, this is what people might describe as a boom age chart right here. In fact, it's almost like the Platonic ideal of one. It's basically like a picture-perfect representation of a country that is rising. This isn't sustainable long-term, but for right now, it's, I thought people were having less kids in America. They are, but we've had a leveled-off replacement rate for a while now because we're such a developed country. Look at Russia. Okay, last one. We're going to look at Russia. No, we're just looking at Russia. All right. Now, if you look at this, you might notice some problems. Just a little bit of wonkiness. Just a little bit. Slightly. Want to know what this difference in men and women are right here? World War II. Do you think 70-year-olds fought in World War II? Chat. 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 A lot of it is the Afghan War. The Vietnam War? They weren't in Vietnam. We were in Vietnam. The Afghan War itself did not lead to that many Soviet casualties, but the overall process of conscription, military engagement, training, and so on, far more Russians died from being in the military than from actually, like, in combat, you know? Also, the suicide rate in Russia is really high. And men tend to kill themselves more because men are more emotional and irrational. Also, the alcoholism rate. Well, everyone over there is an alcoholic. Is any of this related to work camps? I don't think so. Not so much. I mean, certainly it contributes to something, but this is just a colossal difference in how many men versus how many women lived to this point. And I think it has a lot more to do with suicidality and military culture. A study estimates that about 50% of male deaths in the last decades is due to the alcoholism problem. Remarkable. Vaush, 80% of all Soviet men born in 1923 died. 1923 was 1 century ago. The gender disparity gap continues all the way to Russians in their 60s. We're talking about stuff that, I mean, the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan was in the 80s. That was 45 years ago. It means this group right here would have been born during the time of the invasion, which means that this group right here would have been of military age during the time of the invasion. More or less. If you imagine that they're conscripting a 20-year-old back during the invasion in 84, so they would have been born in 64, which means they would have been 36 plus 23, which is 59 years old, which, yeah, would have put them right here. You know? Any older and they would have fit in this gap. It's right around that time. Why is it always ladies that live longer in these charts? Women tend not to be conscripted for war. Women tend to live longer due to social pressures on men to perform more dangerous acts. And also, biologically, females are just a little bit sturdier. I think it has to do with the heart. I think it's something about the heart and the immune system, I think, where just the configuration of a woman's body, or of a natal female's body, is just slightly sturdier than a male's by about 2 to 3 years. But that's not this. This is not like women outliving men through biological means, okay? Look at this gap. This is clearly other stuff. Vaush transphobe moment? Well, actually, as I understand it, and I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of the things that cause women to lead longer lives are affected by hormones. So trans women would benefit from those changes. Not all of them. For instance, height is one because the shorter you are, the less strain you put on your organs, like your heart. And I've heard some people say that estrogen shrinks you, but I don't maybe. But obviously, trans women on average are taller than cis women, so it's not like 1 to 1. But probably yeah, taking estrogen probably would flatten out your your living curve a little bit, make you live a little longer. Transing to age max now, Vosh. People do that. It's getting more and more popular for people to take either testosterone or estrogen shots as they get older in order to maintain like a standard rate of hormone production for longer than a body normally could. Uh, Older guys are like, stay because you don't want to drop. You don't want to be like low T as a guy. Your body kind of relies on it a bit. Like you need a healthy level, and likewise with estrogen for women. Immigration is good for us, Nana Wood. It's good for everyone. What do you think we should do about the population imbalances? Immigration! Immigration, really! Also, realistically, we probably need to take elder care a bit more seriously, Like our current practice of dealing with old people in America, which is where we send them off to like a prison slash rape ward where they get molested by sicko nurses for the rest of their, old lives. Probably not the best solution we could have come upon. I genuinely think that those like big communities where you live semi-autonomously, but you have like a button or two in your house you can press for help, and you have like nurses come by to do like laundry or what, like that kind of shit. I genuinely feel like that's probably the best thing that you can do with large groups of old people. Because the thing is, it's one of those economy of scale things, right? Where if you have a if you're sending old people off to like a home or whatever, that's really expensive and economically inefficient because it's like, oh, 50 people live in this like basically hospital that they live in 24/7. Like that's fucking expensive, right? But what if you just had like larger communities, neighborhoods even, where it's just like, oh yeah, and if you're an elderly resident here, like here you go, like and for this we'll have a person visit like now and again. Like maybe it's like I don't know, slightly higher rent on average, but it would be like a normal living situation. So otherwise, you could even have a multi-generational household. So maybe you have like two people in their 40s and their parents need help, but they need to work. So they can like go off to work and be in a multi-generational. It's like, well, who will take care of my father? Well, that's what the neighborhood is for, right? A lot of people really don't like to treat old people like they're real. Like basically it's like the capitalist grind, right? You spend your early life getting educated so that you can get a job, and then you spend the time that you can work jobbing as hard as you can, and when you can no longer job, you're just kind of like a burden hanging off society. This is very much like a Western thing. They respect their elders in Japan. It's like unironically better. Have you ever noticed that in anime it's like really common for people to live with their old grandparents or whatever? That's better. Hispanics like to do that too. That's better. It's more humane. Like, let's be real. But do any of us like the idea of being put in a home by our children? There's just this weird callous disregard. I don't live with my parents because I wanted to move with Seattle. I don't want to live in Beverly Hills. But like, I love my folks. If I had like a nice big house, I would like totally live with them. Like for sure, yeah. I feel like the aversion to that is born out of this juvenile grindset Western idea that you have to arrange your entire living situation like some kind of Patrick Bateman cryopod where you keep everything clean and like hyper personalized and everything has to be quiet so you can bring someone back to them every once in a while. And like it's just a weird arrangement of priorities. It's like, damn, man, that's like your family. I'm also a big fan of these. Hold on, let me see if I can find like an image of what I'm talking about here. Okay. Houses, shared garden inward. I think I've shown this on stream before. There's a very specific kind of housing development that's rare. It's not very common, but it should be, is what I'm saying. Wait. Group of houses, shared lawn. There we go. Let's see if that... I'm getting like psychotic results from Google right now. They don't want you to know the secret that I'm trying to impart upon you. But it's kind of like this, all right? Except forget this like stupid, overexpensive villa. Forget this rich people bourgeois bullshit. But the idea is that you have neighborhoods arranged by street, and then rather than having two houses that face opposite streets, you have the the two rows of houses face inward, and you have like a shared fence and like a garden in the middle. So the idea would be that like you're in a sub community in your neighborhood where if you walk outside, you're not opened up into a road that just sort of cuts through everything, but into like a center space where you can get to know your neighbors. And I always thought like, man, if you so again, forget like these stupid house. Like imagine this is just like a cute like 2-bedroom house or whatever or a townhome. Um yeah, and then like going out and then like your parents live like right across the way. Like you could literally wave to them from your kitchen window. That's like so cute to think about, you know? This is what you're talking about? A cottage court? A cottage court! Yeah! Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah. Let me find the best representative. Like this. Again, it doesn't all have to look like Hobbit homes or whatever. But look at that. It's really efficient, too, because this way you don't feel like you need a lawn for everyone. Because you just kind of have like a shared space and it encourages like community and that kind of stuff. Keep in mind that like there is literally no reason this couldn't be done or be more common. I've lived in places that are kind of like this. It's not like super uncommon or whatever, but I just think it's a really good way of doing stuff. Here's an example that would be more like an American Southwestern home style. See, this is what I'm imagining in like America, right? Because Americans love their lawns. But isn't this so much better than just like a suburb? In terms of overall space, this takes up about as much or less space than that. But it's like, you go outside and it's like, oh, you're like in a little enclosure. And if you want to get out with your car, the car goes in the back. Like it parks into a spot in the back that exits out on the road. I really like this one. This is ideal right here. That's really cute. If you want to drive in, then you have the lot that parks in from the back adjacent to the road. And if you want to walk out onto the road, you exit the front and then there's a path that goes right out to it. There's like no inconvenience. It's a little panopticon-y. I don't think so. If I lived in a situation like this, I don't think I would feel intruded upon at all. I mean, you could draw your curtains if you wanted, but I feel like it would just encourage you to get to know your neighbors. But can you imagine living here with like friends? Like, imagine you have a partner and you're here, and then your folks live here, and then you've got like a bunch of friends who live here, like a friend and their family. Like, oh man, dude, it's like return to tradition, you know? I mean, like literally though, it rebuilds the village mindset in a way that is really healthy, I think. Look at how cute this is. Thank you for the person who linked the cottage court thing. Now that I have a term for it, look, that's a bunch of people. Look, they're all look. They've got a little shared garden, and it's enclosed. They don't have to listen to road traffic because they're far away. They've been sheltered from the noise of the road, and they can all just go out there and play poker or whatever. This is socialism. Socialism does not exist anywhere in the world except for this specific cottage court. Okay, what if I dislike almost all people? Then you can go live in the isolating, alienated, like, single-unit houses that exist all across the world right now. You can have the rest of the world, all right? Is this to reduce care costs for the elderly? I just think this would be better for people in general. Vaush, land price is the problem, not people. This takes up less land than this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 houses all facing inward. The combined lot and land space of those 6 houses would be equal or greater if they were spread out across their separate lots. This is more space efficient. I like medium density housing. But guys, I'm not... Ooh! What is wrong with you guys? You can do this in medium density housing as well. This is just like the cottage core thing. You could do this with townhouses. You could do this with... Guys, you realize that right now we're literally just taking a look at a miniature cut-down logic of Barcelona's super blocks, right? We're looking at the same logic of a super block, just cut down in a smaller format. It's exactly the same thing. See? Look there, medium to high density cottage core. Okay? Now, instead of a bunch of small single-family houses facing inward on a garden, you have a bunch of apartment blocks facing inward on a collective shopping, tourism, and eating area. There, whatever. It's the logic. I'm just talking. Oh my god. But not every part of the world can look like this. A lot of the world is going to be medium or low density under any economic system. And as long as there are going to be suburbs, and there always will be suburbs, let's make them nice suburbs. You know? Then how do you solve the population problem? I don't know! What do you mean? What? Fix the leftist audio. I sounded like Charlie there. Fix the population problem! You want me to fix the population problem? Yeah. Just cat on the wall! Sorry. It's Always Sunny is such a good show. I'm really glad that I got bullied into watching it by Vermin. Thanks, Vermin!